Welcome, listeners, to Wake in Darkness, a podcast hosted by Sue Pitt. We're a local paranormal group from Racine, Wisconsin, that explores haunted homes, businesses, and all things that go bump in the night here in Southeast Wisconsin and the Midwest. We'd like to discuss places we have investigated, hauntings from around the world, true crimes, cryptids, and more. I'm Kathy, your host, and I'm the leader of this band of ragtag individuals. And tonight we're joined by Heather and Kevin.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Howdy.
If you're just joining us, welcome. We start off this new year by continuing our discussion of haunted locations around the world.
And we will be discussing the legend of the Banshee and legendary castles of Ireland.
The legends of the Banshee. For those who are unfamiliar with who and what the Banshee is, and why she's traditionally associated only in the five great families of Ireland, Kevin, can you explain this a little bit more for our listeners?
Sure. So, a banshee in Irish folklore is a female spirit or fairy woman who heralds the death of a family member with her piercing, her mournful wails, shrieks, or keening, often appearing as an old hag or beautiful woman in white, tied to Gaelic families as a supernatural messenger of death. So, somewhat like La Llorona or the Wailing Woman. She makes different vocalizations. She makes noises known as a goal, can range from a blood-curdling shriek to a soft, sad song, depending on the family's relationship with her. And she has an interesting appearance. Her descriptions vary, but often include an old woman with long gray hair and a hooded cloak, or a beautiful young woman with golden hair and white. And some other forms and other traditions that she's known as is Little Washerwoman. I think this might be a Gaelic thing, but Bean Neeg, hard to figure out how to pronounce this. Washing the bloodied clothes of those about to die. That doesn't seem creepy at all, does it?
No, not at all.
Super helpful, honestly.
And who's these great five families of Ireland?
Well, it wouldn't be Irish if it didn't have an O in front of it. So you've got the five great families are the O'Neills, the O'Briens, the O'Connors, the O'Grady's, and the one sort of that probably feels left out is the Kavanaghs. They don't have an O in front of them. But while they are powerful dynasties, like the O'Neills, O'Connors, O'Briens, and the McMurrows, they dominated regions and claimed high kingships. Other major families included the O'Donnells, the Fitzgeralds, the Butlers, the Burkes, and the McCarthy clan, shaping Ireland's history and landscape through centuries of power and intermarriage, which isn't completely uncommon in Europe, especially in the monarchy. There's a lot of interfamily marrying, kind of bizarre, but it is what it is. These families, both Gaelic and Norman, established castles and territories, forming the backbone of Irish power structures for centuries. And the reason for the specific association is often debated, but it is generally linked to the idea that these families were of the pure Milesian stock, or ancient Irish royalty nobility, for whom a fairy would lament.
Have you heard of any of these people, like these families? You've been to Ireland before.
You know, a lot of these names are super common. And, you know, I'm not familiar with, these particular noble families, but, these are all pretty common names.
Okay. How do they actually practice the keening at the funerals, influenced by the terrifying supernatural images of the Banshee we have today?
So keening is a traditional loud wailing, lamenting for the dead. It's originating from Gaelic Celtic culture. Oh my gosh, say that 10 times fast. Originating from Gaelic Celtic culture, where skilled women would improvise cries, songs, rhythmic sounds at wakes and funerals to express grief and to help guide the soul. It's a deep emotional vocalization, distinct from simple crying and involving improvisation, vocables, which is repeated sounds, and sometimes chanting, creating a shared, powerful expression of loss. The practice comes from the Irish word kina, which means to cry or to weep, often associated with a private mourning turned public. And there are often some accounts where women would be paid to keen at funerals. It is often seen as a way to keep the memory of those who have died alive.
Mhm. Every time we talk about the Banshee, all I keep thinking of is Darby O'Gill and the Little People. There's a scene in that movie. It's an older movie, and they have the Banshee, and I just have the guy in it that's his name is Darby O'Gill, and he's just like, it's the Banshee. It's all every time you guys are saying Banshee, that's all that I keep thinking of. The Banshee. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a great movie. My kids watch it around St. Patty's Day time. But well, let's go on. In the modern paranormal reports, does the Banshee still appear as a woman combing her hair, or has the sightings evolved over time? Heather, do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so upon all my research, some of like the most recent ones in June of 2014, a witness reported a terrifying shrill scream that seemed to be approaching them in the middle of the night. The witness observed a woman standing outside with her head back screaming, which caused physical irritation to their ears. They called the police, and who, upon arriving at the scene, later suggested it may have been a banshee, and a death in the witness's family occurred shortly after. And then in recent decades, interviews with residents across Ireland have reviewed numerous encounters within the last 50 years, suggesting the figure still walks among us in modern settings. Um, and then there's a really famous retelling of it. It's called Brady's Story of West Clare. It was a report that was gathered between 2019 and 2021, describing a terrifying high pitched scream in the field next to a home, prompting witnesses to immediately run inside, lock the doors, and stay in until morning. So, not so much physical appearance of any type of like cloaked figures, but definitely the screaming, and then the death followed shortly thereafter.
Yeah, it would be kind of terrifying to hear, especially like right outside your house or something like that. Um,
Yeah. And that's why I thought of like La Llorona, because that was kind of like the thing that we had talked about earlier was when Renee had mentioned like it's like if you hear her far away, she's actually really close, or if she seems close, she's actually further away. And like it was like kind of thought to believe she would like harm someone if she came closer to them. And so it's kind of similar to that, except for maybe like not so much harm to the person who hears it, but more like a warning, I guess.
right. Well, yeah, because it seems like she's not harming people. It's just like a notification of something. Something that is about to happen or something happened, something like that. But um, we also were talking about Ireland, and in Ireland there's a bunch of castles that people have heard of and everything. There's these, strongholds that are quite haunted. One of them being the Lep Castle, which is about 2 miles, or in their terms, 3 kilometers from the Irish town of Roscrea. And you can still find Lep Castle. The history of Lep Castle is a bloody one, even before the castle was even built. The two brothers, we go back to the families that Kevin, you were talking about. The two brothers of the O'Banion clan challenged each other for the leadership of their clan, which, that happens all the time. who's going to take over, big brother, little brother, you broke my GI Joe type thing. um they were, to leap off the rock where the castle was built. The surviving brother would claim the leadership as well as the new castle. And this would happen around 1250. I mean, these things go back. Surprisingly, we can barely make roads nowadays to last like 3 months, and then we got potholes. But these people were able to build castles back in, the 1200s, 1100s, and they're still standing today. And this castle in particular was named, um, now this is also Gaelic too, so I am not good at Gaelic at all. Liam U Banyan, or Lep, for the Banyans. Leap, I'm sorry, Leap for the Banyans. The Albanians were powerful in that area, but were, like the subject of even more powerful clans. The O'Carroll clans liked the castle, so they simply took it from the O'Banians, and the O'Carrolls managed to keep it until 1649. So that went through a lot of families, in the O'Carroll side. When the castle passed to the Darby family, by marriage, but the O'Carrolls had to defend the castle against other, people that were during their reign. In 1513, Gerald Fitzgerald, yeah, that is original. Gerald Fitzgerald, the Earl of Kildare, tried to seize the castle without success. He tried again 3 years later because, he's just not giving up on this castle. During this attempt, um, part of the castle was ruined. Yeah, it can't be mine, so I'm going to wreck it for you so you don't have it the way you want it. So that's just a small history of that castle. The Lep Castle has burned and practically destroyed in 1922, as recently as 1922, by the Irish civilians, because the castle was in English hands. And as we know in history, England still is a part of Ireland, and they still, fight back and forth because they want to be free, and only part of the country is not involved with England. They are by themselves, and so they've been fighting over that forever. So, in 1922, it was still in English hands. The Darbys left the castle because of this, and it remained in ruins until a musician, Sean Ryan, and his wife Anne, bought it in 1991. I don't know who Sean Ryan is, but he rebuilt the castle based on the pictures from, before it was destroyed. And the Ryans have seen many spirits over time, but fortunately never laid eyes on the elemental. They live in harmony with many of the spirits in the castle, but there's that elemental. And so Lep Castle is often called the most haunted castle, and a lot of people have heard of it around the world. But Heather, can you describe the elemental and why it feels different from the standard ghosts that the Ryans are dealing with?
Yeah, so the elemental is known as a dark, ancient entity. The entity has never been human. Before the castle was even built, the land belonged to druids. And the land was very fertile, so it was of great importance. The druids might have called upon the elemental for protection, for their sacred land. Others say that Gerald Fitzgerald called upon the elemental to curse the O'Carrolls. The elemental has powers to destroy the castle from within. The castle was partly demolished at Fitzgerald's second attempt, and the elemental has said it doesn't show itself unless it's challenged. Um, it was last seen in 2006 by Mildred Darby, who lived from 1867 to 1932, which I don't understand that.
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
quote
is
me on
she
that
the
one.
spirit that's talking then?
Right. Oh, sorry. It was last seen in 2006. Mildred Darby did live from 1867 to 1932. she also claimed to have seen the elemental, but she was also said to have performed black magic. So that didn't bode well for the whole I've seen the elemental thing.
Yeah.
Also, I was thinking of like when you were talking about these brothers jumping off of this rock, and basically anybody who, like, if they survived, they get the castle. And
Right.
I wonder if that kind of ties into modern times when you tell people, your kids especially, like, oh, if so and so jumps off a bridge, would you do it too?
Right. And if Scott was here right now, he'd be like, yes, yes, I would, because that's exactly what he did. He jumped off of the bridge or the pier and into the water. So, yeah, he would be that brother to try to leap off the rock.
Now he
Just
wins the
saying.
pier.
Yeah, his was the pier. He's fine. He knows how to swim. But yeah, it's the same thing. Like they would always fight back and forth. I mean, we were watching a movie, we were watching Robin Hood, the Disney movie. Same thing. Richard goes off, he's the king. He goes off to battle, and little brother, Prince John, is still behind. And he's like, this is all mine because my brother's not here. Well, the brother comes back and puts little brother in his place. Nope, it's still my castle, still my kingdom. Same concept. It's just Disney portion, but
Yeah. Well, along
yeah,
with the elemental though, there's like this whole oubliette slash priest hole thing. So Kathy, do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Like how
yeah.
interesting that is for the
So
castle itself?
So it's like pits or hiding holes where the Catholic priests were hidden to avoid persecution. So Lep Castle has an oubliette that is a notorious hiding dungeon where the rival O'Carroll brothers impaled enemies on wooden spikes below a trap door. And a
Yikes.
leading, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yikes. Oh my God. Like, can you just like just getting pushed into a hole and oh, there's spikes at the bottom. Now you're dead.
Yeah, and I think of Goonies on that one. There's a part where they come down and there's the trap and they fall in and there's these spikes. Well, anyway, it leads to agonizing death, as you can imagine. And there's hundreds of skulls discovered. Legend says that the spirits of these victims and the malevolent elemental haunts the castle, manifesting as a disembodied voice. And I was wondering what the elemental would actually like do or look like. So what it does, it has disembodied voices, cold spots, and overwhelming feeling of dread, especially in the bloody chapel area where the priest slash brother was murdered.
Mm.
So they don't really actually say what the elemental actually looks like though, which is interesting. Um, but you know, maybe we'll find out. I don't know. We'll see. Um, so with that, Kevin, what does the Cromwellian War and how does that shape in Ireland's history? They got a rich history.
Yes. So the Cromwellian invasion refers to a brutal conquest of Ireland, dating back to 1649 to 1653 by Oliver Cromwell's English parliamentarian New Model Army. We say that 10 times fast too, right? But
Right?
part of the Wars of the Three Kingdoms is what it was. And it was aimed at crushing Catholic royalist resistance after the English Civil War, resulting in massacres in Drogheda, Wexford, and there was widespread famine, a lot of land confiscation, and mass transportation of Irish people, uh, leaving a legacy of a lot of deep resentment. The War of the Three Kingdoms was a series of conflicts fought between 1639 and 1653, and the kingdoms of England, Scotland, and Ireland were involved, and then separate entities and a personal union under Charles the First. Um, they include the 1639 to 1640 Bishops' War, the First and Second English Civil Wars, the Irish Confederate Wars, the Cromwellian conquest of Ireland, and the Anglo-Scottish War of 1650 to 1652. They resulted in the execution of Charles I, the abolition of monarchy, and founding of the Commonwealth of England, a unitary state which controlled the British Isles until the Stuart Restoration in 1660. So a lot of war.
In a
Yeah,
short period of time.
right.
Yeah.
On a little island. I mean, that's a
Island literally small enough to fit inside of the state of Wisconsin. It's not, you look at it on the map and it's really not that big. It's
wow.
pretty small.
But why Ireland? I mean, is it the landscape? Is it the bloody history of the Cromwellian invasions, or the Celtic belief of the thin places where the veil between the worlds is it's at its weakest?
Hmm.
I mean, why all this? Is it because there's all this death? It, it's weird. I mean, I don't
There's got to
understand
be
it.
something going on. I mean, I I'm a little bit of a history nerd, so I really like the idea that like the druids kind of like called upon this elemental to kind of protect it, and maybe that's what kind of sparked all this war and conflict. Like if it's really as evil as it says it is, you know, is it
Right.
influencing these people to do horrible, horrible things and start these wars and continue to keep starting wars and like conflict continuously?
Well, and yeah, and on top of that, how many times do kingdoms fight with other kingdoms because they want that land and they want whatever's on that land? It's who has the biggest army, and I'm conquering it all, and all that stuff. Um, but like you said, is it somebody brought in that elemental to protect everything? I mean, I can understand the ghosts because of all the death that's happened, and even not just the death, but all the emotions and everything that happened. Like it's all kind of like sunken into the ground. It's soaked with all this, going on around it. It's kind of like here when you go to like Gettysburg, it's just soaked in the soil. Ireland's the same thing. They've got so many wars going on in such a short time. And back then there's not as many people as there are now. So you think about it, they're almost like pretty much like are trying to wipe them out completely. And
Yeah.
England and Ireland have always gone at it, and we need to take over. I mean, all the way up until like the 1970s, where the IRA was going after the monarch, in the English monarch, and took out Lord Mountbatten while he was fishing with his family to make a point. We want to be by ourselves. We want Ireland to be ours. So, I mean, this has been going on for centuries. So, I mean, I can understand a little bit of why it's the way it is, what they're experiencing there. Why that castle in general, I don't know. I mean, there are other castles. Um, there's the Dunluce Castle, which is in Northern Ireland, famous for its resident Banshee. The Maeve Roa, linked to the castle's powerful families, along with the stories of the ghostly woman and the cries of the people falling into the sea. Merging families tragedy with the Banshee's warnings. Um, there's the Bunratty Castle, which is in County Clare. Features the Bunratty Banshee, believed to be to be the spirit of a drowned servant girl whose moans signal death, which is kind of what we were talking about, where it's like a warning. It's not doing anything to you, it's just warning of something.
Yeah.
Fitting the Banshee role, but tied to the castle's specific history. Then there's the Ducat Grove, which is in County Carlow, where while it's more of a house, its legend continues with involving a cursed family and the Banshee that haunts the towers, where the curse is brought ruin, and the Banshee's cries are heard. Blending family is misfortune with, specific and special warnings. I mean, this is all tied in, and like, why Ireland? Well, we got all this going on in all these different castles and throughout the countryside. It's just the entire thing is like soaked. And then you put like World War I in there, World War II in there, and all that stuff, and all those recent ones. I mean, we're only talking about wars in the 1600s, but it still continued on because Ireland is still here today. So from the basically dawn of time to now, that's a lot. That's a lot of death. That's a lot of misery. I'm sure they've had happy times. They still have happy times, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Anything on that one?
Go back to Ireland.
You do want to go back to Ireland. I don't blame you.
I was looking at Bunready Castle's pictures, and I'm like, I swear I've been there. But the one thing with Ireland and Wales and Scotland, like there's just hundreds, if not thousands, of castles. So it's like, I think after a while they just start to look the same. But I'm looking at this, and it's like, I swear I've been
like
there.
an episode of Oprah, like you get a castle and you get a castle.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
everybody gets
castle where you can go and buy a castle. Like it's like a house.
Careful what you wish for. I mean, some of them are really nice, but some of them are just like ruins, and you're like, oh, there's a quarter of a wall here. Like, this isn't a castle anymore. It's rubble.
You're now the lord of this little.
It's the indoor-outdoor space, okay?
Yeah.
You put up a nice curtain. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It really just makes it. It's for the outdoor lover.
Yes. That is for sure.
Don't mind all the rocks too,
Right. Exactly. And the wailing that's coming
from
the tower. Don't mind that over there. It's really ambiance at this point.
Yeah.
And I went to several castles in those different countries, Ireland and Wales and Scotland, and I tell you, I didn't really feel a ton in any of those places, but I think we did a podcast on Kilmaingold a while back. That's a prison in Ireland. It's in Dublin, and they carried out even public executions there until I think it was the 1900s. Catherine, you talked about the 70s when they were still having issues. But now it's a tourist attraction, and that place has the creepiest vibe out of any place I had been over there. So not to get off topic, but
I mean, it's definitely it's got a very rich, dark history for sure.
It really does. And like I said, I'm not a tremendous sensitive by any means, but that place just gives you a very grim feeling. Maybe it's because it's a prison and the bars and the doors and the enclosed space is all still there, and it's just this fortress, if you will, when you're in the middle of it. But even out in the courtyard where they had the firing squad area when they were using rifles to execute people, it's just like, wow, like there's just something that feels really bad. It just feels terrible. So, but I do want to go back. Yeah.
Never been there. It's on a bucket list. One of many bucket lists that I've got going on, but still there.
Stupid paranormal tour.
Scott and I were talking about going there when we were getting married, but we had kids, so that wasn't in the cards at the time. He was like, but now the kids are all grown up. I go, are you saying that we could go and actually renew our vows? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, Ireland, all right, let's do that. It's probably not going to happen. We're hitting our 20th this year. It's probably not going to happen this year, but maybe the 25th, because we got way too much stuff going on this year. So I mean, Ireland could be in the mix there.
Make them kids start paying some dues, put it in a little Ireland fund, and
Right. I mean, they're like, oh, can we come along? Yeah, but you were going to pay your own way because you're
through FaceTime.
Now.
That's how you come
Right.
Right.
along.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever you got to
The
do to
hotel
make.
has excellent cell phone reception.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's the fountain.
Yeah.
Here's
Right?
the check-in desk. It's like you're
Yeah,
here with
you
me.
you can come along. We can FaceTime. It's okay. It works, But yeah. Um, any final words, Heather?
So, if you're interested in learning more about the legend of the Banshee, Lep Castle, or any other places we have discussed, you can find links in the show notes below.
Ooh.
Nice.
So, whether the Banshee is a guardian of old lineages or harboring of doom, her cries remind us of, that of Ireland. The past is never truly dead, as we know as investigators. It's lives in the stones of Lep Castle and the winds of the Atlantic coast. So I mean, you just never know when you're close to the water. Kind of listen along, you might hear it like echoing across the waves. If you ever go to Ireland, try to look up the Lep Castle and see what it's about. Um, and yeah, stones. They've got stones aplenty in Ireland. Just don't bring them home because you never know what's attached to it.
Yes,
Leave
leave
it
it
where
where
it
you found it.
lays.
Hmm.
Yep, leave it where it lays. Because people have done that in the past, even here in the United States, and then they sent them back to wherever it came from because all the bad juju came with it. So they're hoping
Not
that
worth it.
things would go better.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
go places, visit them, but don't take the stuff with because you just never know what's going to happen. With that, I'd like to thank you guys, Heather, Kevin, for joining me tonight. I know it's been a while since we've gotten together and done this, but thank you guys for sticking with it. Um, it's been a journey this year already for us, but you know it's going to continue on. It's new year, new us. So I mean, for those that have not followed us, please follow us. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. We're on YouTube, our website too. Always look up either Supit, which is SEWPIT. Yes, I know it's not spelt the way it sounds. Otherwise, it's Southeast Wisconsin Paranormal Investigation Team. And we are also doing our podcast, Wicked Darkness. And we have a couple things coming up soon. What did we say? In March, we're going to be in Wauwatosa. And you can find this information out on our social media. We're going to be putting that out. Um, and that one is with Healing, I don't want to say it wrong, Healing Hands, I believe. Please tell me I'm saying this correctly. I'm not sure offhand. Um, I'm just double checking what I'm talking about. Don't mind me. Um, so the one in Wauwatosa is, yep, this is why we can edit things.
Heart
I'm
and
gonna put
Soul
that.
Community.
There we go. So we'll be at Wauwatosa on March 21st at, what was it, Heather?
Heart and Soul Community at 12:15 p.m. You do
Yes,
have to buy tickets.
you do. It's not one that you can just go to. It's not it's open to the public, but you have to pay to get into it. And then we're gonna also be on another podcast, somebody else's podcast. Um, and I don't know when he's gonna release it, but it's gonna be in April. I don't know if it's gonna be live or not offhand. But yeah, we'll be doing that, joining Ryan Pfister and on his podcast. And we are going to be opening it up in February, which is in like a couple of weeks, which is crazy to think of that January went that quick. But we're going to be opening up for our application process for new team members to join us. So if you're interested in becoming a member and you live in the Southeast Wisconsin area, we are based out of Racine, Wisconsin. So go to our Facebook page, send us your email, uh, via personal message, or you can just email us at soupit@gmail.com and we will send you an application. But we will be doing that fairly quickly in February. And as soon as we get your application, we'll let you know when we're going to do the interviews. So that's exciting. We've got more things coming up. And possible investigations that are going to be coming up too. So we got a lot going on for the team already in 2026. So stay tuned. Thank you for listening to us and listening to me babbling on right now. Anybody
Gotta
else
get the word out there.
We are not that scary. It says we can definitely see it, but it's not that bad inside. For our skeptics, keep grounded. For our believers, keep believing. I'm Kathy. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
So spooky.